so the buffering gets a little more stringent as far as the numbers that are required, the number of trees, shrubs, those type of things. They will have their own and be required by Hampton County to contain any watershed that they have on this development. There was a proposal to actually exit out onto Salzman. Based on the feedback we received from the residents, it wasn't a favorable feedback, so the applicant has removed that. Next slide. There's the current zoning, as I mentioned, is A. They're looking at converting most of those parcels from A to match the zoning on the left, which is O. To the south, it is industrial, planned industrial district, and also to the north, which is the Duke utility site, which is industrial. Into the far east is a O multifamily. And then here's the overlay. So what you see in red, the dash red, is part of the existing, the thinner red, and then as you look at the overall development, they actually go outside of Salzman too. But the area that's labeled there on the far right, a single family zoning district, will remain a single family. And then there's some area in light blue. It's kind of hard to see here, but it will encompass this area, and then this area, and then here's that overlap. So right now there is parking here, and part of this development, if approved, would add additional parking there, and then a shared easement to join these two parking. They do have a proposed dumpster that they're also going to be sharing, which is actually on the other plot, which would need to be a modification to that O plan district. Next one. So there's the outline in green, basically just showing the parcels that are involved. The next, and then there's a floor plan. The intended use is actually basketball and volleyball, similar to the use that they have now for the other facilities, which they've expanded that to include daycare, but this is basically just basketball, volleyball, and something called pickleball. I don't know what that is. Next. And then as far as the zoning commission recommendations, they did have several recommendations. There were some variances, which our code doesn't address currently, but it will. So one of the things our code, and this will be up to the board eventually to approve or make additional recommendations. If you have a similar use where you have, for example, O next to O, right now your lighting cannot overshed over 0.5 foot candles onto that adjoining property. It has to be 0.5 or less. Well, if you have similar uses, it would make sense to continue that light for the most part for a safety issue. So our code doesn't address that right now, so that's one of the issues that they're looking for a variance on. Building height, they did meet part of their requirements, meaning 35 feet, but there is a section in the front that projects up to 40 feet. So that's where they're looking for height approval of design. Again, the buffering is one of those things between 7,900 and the proposal where there's a parking lot and they're adjoining another parking lot. So they're looking for relief from the landscaping requirement there. And then as you see the other items above. And that's it. This will be in front of you on Thursday.
What was the zoning commission about?
The last slide there, Greg. Right there. So everybody was aye except for Cronenberger.
Is it off the screen?
It's 4-1.
It maybe it's blocked by the desk, I don't know.
Yeah, it's down there.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You know what, I'll have to pull my presentation up a little bit.
Have
So
they-
4-1.
Have they addressed all these issues? What we're gonna see, is this all?
On the new plan that we received, they have, there's one remaining item, and they said they would get it. It's that shared parking agreement that must be put in place. So while they designed the plan to show that, I just don't have a record of it, and they probably won't do it until, if they were approved.
Can you tell us 4-1?
4-1. Cronenberger voted no.
The only thing, the last meeting we had with Staggy, your presentation was about 25 minutes long. It was a long presentation. And then that came on, of course, and then we were an hour, it was over an hour, then didn't even the meeting. is there a way, that maybe, I don't know how long your presentation is gonna be, you know, make it shorter so they come in and they do theirs? You understand, you remember the last meeting, the last was Staggy, it was a long presentation on your part.
Yeah.
Which I know you had to do. And then they came back and it was, so instead of meeting starting at 7, we started at 7:21 or something.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned that in the future, maybe we start these, you know, an hour early at 6 o'clock or something.
I'm open, I mean, we can start whenever the board's willing to be here.
Well, I think Harry can do a condensed presentation. I think Staggy was a unique case.
And that's
There were a lot
what
This is
very-
much
very-
more
Yeah, that-
straightforward, so I think this can be a much condensed presentation.
Yeah, and that's what I did on this one. I narrowed it down just to give you kind of the highlights, still
Yeah,
be a
this was-
little bit
this
more
was quick.
information. Here's my only concern, Mr. LaBarbera. As you know, we have 20,000 residents, and I have some that say my presentations are too long. I have others that say my presentation is too short, I'm hiding something, I didn't give enough information. I will go with the board's direction. If you tell me minimize it, I will minimize it to your request. That's the best I can do, but I think it is critical that I provide adequate information to not only you as the board, but also to the members of our audience, so that they know what's going on. I'll follow your lead.
I'll work with Harry. We'll come up with one that I think will work for everybody. And then if people don't like it, they can blame me.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
So we're gonna stay with 6:30 as our start time?
You have to.
You have to,
It's
you already-
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 Okay, that's fine. I just wanna confirm because I got a scout group is coming in to observe our meeting on Thursday night, and I'm meeting with them before that, so I wanted to make sure that I told them. Okay.
I have a question on this.
Yes,
The applicant, is that Kids First?
yes. The applicant is actually Brian Dahl. Brian Dahl.
So it's not Kids First?
That's correct.
It's
Okay.
actually on the presentation, applicant as Brian Dahl. That was on the first slide.
But it is for Kids First.
It is.
Does that individual own Kids First?
No.
They don't have to. You can assign an applicant for your development. So the applicant has, the property owner has signed off on the application. Brian Dahl is his agent, so that's the applicant.
So Kids First is the property owner though?
Kids First or their subsidiaries, they have a couple of LLCs, that is the applicant, or the owner.
Okay, so I just wanted to put to light some questions that hopefully Mr. McEwen can answer, although he's dropping his head. They are a sponsor or have been a sponsor of the festival. Mike, you negotiated that, I assume?
Well, they tell us how much they're willing to, what level of sponsorship they're willing to be.
And I think they sponsored in, was it last year or 17?
They've sponsored us every year. One year they were a platinum sponsor. That was 2 years ago, I believe. They were a platinum level sponsor, which was $12,000. Normally, they are a silver sponsor, which I believe is $1,450 or $1,500. But they've been a sponsor of the festival every year, I believe, since we've had it.
Okay, and in 17, you said they sponsored over $12,000?
They were a platinum sponsor, yes.
Do you know why they stopped
Because
doing
their
that?
business was bad.
This is not relevant to our zoning case. So you can ask those questions after the meeting with Mike, he'll be here, but these are not relevant to our zoning case.
Evidently, you believe so. Some people do not.
Mr. Holbert, proposed new zoning commission meeting time?
Speaking of making times earlier, this is one of those things that I need to bring in front of the board to get your approval on it, so I will need a vote and a preparation of resolution, if you wouldn't mind, if you approve the time. So, we've received comments from a lot of our residents that our meetings are too late, and that we hold them too late. So in response to that, a couple years ago, I sent out a request to not only our BZA, but also to our zoning commission members, if they would be available to meet earlier. Obviously, that's a critical part of it, is them being able to attend the meetings. So without them, we don't have the meeting. So BZA was on board to move theirs up, but they couldn't go any earlier than 6:30, which the board did approve that, and we appreciate that. The second one was zoning commission. At the time, they were not able to. There's a couple of the members that said, I just can't get there before 7. So I sent out a new request this year, and the zoning commission members all agreed that they could attend and make the meetings at 6 p.m. So what's in front of the board of trustees now is to change our zoning commission time to 6 o'clock p.m. on the second Monday, if you're inclined to do so.
I'll make a motion to change the zoning commission meeting times to 6 p.m. on the second Tuesday, or second Monday, did you say?
Second Monday,
Second Monday.
unless there's a holiday.
And I'll second that.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarbera,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
I have a question.
Myself and zoning commission members, thank you.
Yes.
When a meeting of a commission or board meets, let's start again. When a meeting or commission meets on a federal holiday, for example, does the meeting then meet the following evening or not?
It goes to Tuesday, correct? Yeah, it goes to the next day, Tuesday.
Okay.
Typically, those are all Monday holidays, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, we would actually post that in the newspaper, so if there's ever any changes to any of our meetings that deviates from the approved, like today, we would post it in the newspaper, so the residents would be made aware of that. We'd also put it on our website.
Okay, good. Mr. Holbert, you're still up. Resolution approving site plan for Bank of America Office Development.
It's an exciting day for planning and zoning. So I do have a resolution approving a site plan for the Bank of America office development in Sycamore Township and dispensing with the second reading.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarbera,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye. Next, we have nuisance property and vehicle resolution 12098 Third Avenue.
Okay, so I'll start with the vehicles first. As you'll see by the resolutions, the inspector did include several photographs to give the board an indication of what we're actually declaring here. So the first one, I have a resolution providing for the removal of junk motor vehicles in Sycamore Township, Hampton County, and the proper disposal, storage, and impoundment of motor vehicles by implementing the procedures set forth in Sycamore Township Resolution Number 2012-14 and 505-173, 505-85, and 505-871 of the Ohio Revised Code. The vehicle in this case is a van. It's red in color. Half of the vehicle is
That's the
missing.
half one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So-
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion?
Just for the record, this was brought up at the High Point Block Watch meeting last night. Kevin told them we're already on it.
Good.
I have a monetary question for the township on this. Mr. Hobart, you mentioned the county in that verbiage when stating code. Is that county code or state code that you were referencing?
The resolution says 505-173, 505-85, and 505-871 of the Ohio Revised Code.
All right, did you mention the word
Was that not
county?
understandable?
Did you say the word county in that anywhere?
Since we are in Hampton County, a resolution providing, board, do you mind if I address this? I mean,
Go ahead, yes.
okay, so that resolution, like the one that we present, here's the verbiage for the record. A resolution providing for the removal of junk motor vehicle in Sycamore Township, Hamilton County, and the proper disposal, storage, or impoundment of the motor vehicle by implementing the procedures set forth in Sycamore Township Resolution Number 2012-14 and 505-173, 505-85, and 505-871 of the Ohio Revised Code. Is that clear?
The reason I bring it up is, can the county be tasked with the removal of this? to save the township taxpayers money?
In this case, there's no taxpayer money because we have an agreement with the towing company that tows this for free. And what they do is they will charge the owners for a towing fee and storage fee if they come to pick it back up, or they will file for a lost title and scrap it, and that's where they get paid. So there's no cost to the township, and this was all approved by Sycamore Township Board of Trustees, and the reason they approved it at that time was because there was no additional cost to the township or the township residents.
Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, is that one okay?
I think we had a vote on that, didn't we?
No, we didn't.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Mr. LaBarbera,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Chief Penny,
I have more.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see it on here.
Yeah, it's a continuation of that property. So, I have a resolution providing for the removal of junk motor vehicles in Sycamore Township, Hampton County, and the proper disposal, storage, or impoundment of motor vehicles by implementing the procedures set forth in Sycamore Township Resolution number 2012-14, and 505-173, 505-85, and 505-871 of the Ohio Revised Code. This vehicle is, as you will see by the attached photos, a Dodge pickup, black, and has similar problems with it, but it is whole in part.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion?
Mr. LaBarbera,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
I have more, if the board's willing. I have a resolution providing for the removal of a junk motor vehicle in Sycamore Township, Hampton County, and the proper disposal, storage, and impoundment of motor vehicles by implementing the procedures set forth in Sycamore Township Resolution number 2012-14, and 505-173, 505-85, and 505-871 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Motion to approve.
A second.
Mr. LaBarbera seconded, any further discussion?
Photos attached.
Mr. LaBarbera,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
One more for this, for vehicles in road. I have a resolution providing for the removal of junk motor vehicles in Sycamore Township, Hampton County, and the proper disposal, storage, and impoundment of motor vehicles by implementing the procedures set forth in Sycamore Township Resolution number 2012-14, and 505-173, 505-85, and 505-871 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Motion.
This is a 2002 GMC Envoy Gray.
I'll second the motion.
Photos
Motion.
attached.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarbera,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
Aye.
These are all on the same property, just so the board knows. And based on the response that I received from the Neighborhood Watch community last night, this was a major problem. And so I'm glad the inspector got out there and got everything updated, and the townships went through all the procedures, and now we're at this next phase of hopefully abating this condition.
So we never pay for the, when they come and pick that up, we don't pay for it.
We do not.
We don't.
That's something that I worked out with 3 separate tow companies. It's the same policy we've had in place for years that I've come over with this board. Nothing's changed. Okay, last resolution. A resolution providing for and authorizing removal of vegetation, garbage, refuse, and other debris and declaring a nuisance for the property located at 12098 3rd Avenue, Sycamore Township, Ohio, 45249. And there's also photos attached.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Mr. Porter?
Mr. LaBarbera,
Aye.
Mr. Connor,
Aye.
Mr. Weedman.
That's all I have, board.
Very good. Harry, based on my experience with the Clockwatch folks last night, I'm sure they appreciate our efforts in cleaning up these properties.
They do, and that neighborhood watch, there's a lot of caring people there. There's a lot of things that we try to help with, which the state doesn't allow us to do, or there's different regulations that come into play, or it may be a sheriff's matter, but, you know, I think we do a pretty good job of taking care of High Point and the rest of the township in regards to property maintenance, and I appreciate the board's backing on these resolutions.
I know Kevin was there last night, Kevin's got a number,
Yeah.
he's got a whole shopping list of situations, so, hopefully we can proceed with those as well.
We will.
Chief Penny, fire update?
I don't have much. The extreme cold weather, now the warm up has caused a lot of pipes breaking. We've had a lot of emergency to property runs. Nothing real serious, thank God. And right now we're running a medic refresher class. We brought in about $6,000 in revenue off of it. So that's why everybody's over there. Looks like a crowd, but it doesn't belong us. And then the only other thing is the January report I'll have done by Thursday. I'll send it to you, and we'll have it on the website probably first next week.
Good. Good questions?
Chief, was there an overdose in High Point that was fatal?
Yep. Sunday night.
And that's the second one in a year's time roughly?
I have to look. I know there was one prior, but I don't know if it was fatal, but the Sunday night one was.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one was a 20-year-old girl, the
Yeah.
second one.
September 8th or 9th of last year.
Yeah, yeah.
The second one was a 40-year-old and son.
Yeah, we didn't, it came as no surprise to the neighbors.
Not at all, no. And the parents, when the medics got there, the mom says she overdosed on heroin, so.
She also
Must be a family thing.
She had a chronic problem and a bad track record with the law as well.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sheriff report.
Good morning, board. I'll have the January statistics to Mr. Bickford for his review in the next week or so. Couple of highlights. We've made a couple of really nice arrests here lately. The first of which I'll be showcasing in the next newsletter. One of our officers, we had a home break-in in northern Sycamore. There, with the snow and the inclement weather, we had people walking around asking residents if they'd like to have their walk or their driveway shoveled. There was a person who took the seemingly nice innocent worker up on that. She let the young individual shovel her driveway. A day or so later, she left her residence to go shopping her